And we are live. Let's see how we can manage everything here. Okay. Hi, everyone. And thank you for joining. I see that the quality is a bit poor somehow. Link copied. Goodbye. So this is a Q&A session, and I see that you guys are joining. We're see that there's more and more coming with us today. And for the Q&A session, obviously, it's question and answers, basically
So
based
this is
on
a
what we
Q&A
have
session,
been
and I see that
talking about during the keynote session. We'll do a follow-up here, and you can use the chat to post whatever questions and thoughts that you would like to address today. Because I'm here for you guys. I'm here to make sure that you get the most out of the keynote that we had the other day, but also that you can pressure test your thoughts and see what I have to comment on that, and see how you can start a discussion based on what you want to achieve for your company and perhaps yourself as well. So this is where we take the monologue from the stage into your hands and start the dialogue. But I'm here for you guys, as I said, and I will not do the talking in that regards, or I will be answering your questions. But it's very much up to you to guide us today in terms of what it is that you want to talk about. So the awkward silence. But the awkward silence is not that awkward to me. I think that is a way where we, in a way, get to think a little bit, and also that it brings out something else in us. Okay, first question. Thank you. How do you start? How do you stay up to date on general marketing knowledge and trends? Yeah, that's a really interesting question, because staying up to date these days is both easy and very complicated, because it depends on what market you're looking at. But given that you're based in Poland, of course you want to understand what the market looks like in Poland, but also what you can learn from other markets. And that is not an easy task. It takes tons of time, and to just sift through the different inspirational content that is out there, but also the news and media outlets and whatever they have to say. So I would say that one of the best ways is to follow people that do that for you, like me. There are other people like me out there that also do this for you, that basically go through all the content that is out there to understand, okay, what are the patterns, what are the indications that we can see, what trends are coming, and how might this challenge my business. So, jumping over to the next question, what do you think about ambush marketing? Uh, I kind of like the method of growth hacking, which is not about hacking. It's about creating opportunities where other people might not see them. And ambush marketing is a little bit connected to that, where you actually try to see what's going on in your competitors' areas, what you can do to connect with your customer on a way that maybe they don't expect. And there are many different layers in this that is interesting, especially the unexpected. But if we connect to something that's very relevant, which is about how we retarget customers today. When retargeting as a method was new, research showed us that customers felt that they were in a way ambushed, but also that they could not understand how this other website that they never been to before knew about the product that they looked at on this e-commerce site. So when the e-commerce site paid for retargeting, they felt that, okay, so there is information about me as an individual and what I browse online for public use. So that's a big concern. And when we talk about the method of connecting with customers, we need to do it so that they feel trust. We need to always think about how we can build trust, because with trust we get returning customers and we get a long-lasting relationship, like with anything. So what I always tell the companies that I work with is to start where trust is an issue, or where you can build on trust already. Like, how can you start the monologue and create that into a dialogue? How can you start a conversation with the customer, and how can you empower them by showing that you care for what they have to say? And jumping over to the next question, how important is networking in a marketing job? I would say that it's super important. Um, but networking could be done in so many different ways. To start with, by networking with like-minded people, you don't need to understand everything and go through all the different method ideas, opportunities, and ways of working on your own. You can actually learn from other people in the similar situations. So think about how you can create a network that you make sure empower the whole network, where you share ideas, where you share opportunities together, so that you as a group become stronger. Obviously, you need to think about what is company secret and so on, but methods and ideas is something that needs to be discussed, that needs to be pressure tested on the market, that needs to get into brainstorming sessions even. Like when we try to create something new, especially when I'm driving workshops and so on, we know about what happens on a everyday basis, but we would like to know more about what our competitors are not doing. We like to come up with innovative ideas that connect closer to the customer. We want to make sure that we don't just do the expected, but also follow up with a little bit of the unexpected, so that we do smart things and not just the things that are expected. Jumping over to the next question. We're facing the energy crisis. Food is more and more expensive. Are consumers still willing to pay more for sustainable products? Should we also distinguish the readiness for that between categories like groceries, beauty, and etc. So this is a huge question, but let's try to take it step by step. Yeah, the energy crisis is a major concern for sure. It's going to be a big hit on the global economy, especially in Europe. Um, Food prices are going up everywhere, and of course that will affect everyone. And in a way, people will start to look at, okay, so how much am I prepared to live a healthier lifestyle? How much am I prepared to choose products that are more sustainable? How much am I prepared to pay extra for products that have a lower impact on the planet and that is healthier for me? And it's a luxury product in a way, because when we compare the prices on less sustainable products, they tend to have a lower price tag. So this is very much connected to the in the person, what values we have, what the prioritization we have, and how much money we have in our pocket. So I believe that there will be a big change in how much we think about the planet in relation to this, given that the prices is going to be higher. But also, one thing that is super interesting with this is that with the energy crisis, everybody are thinking about how can I lower my electricity usage. What can I do as an individual to decrease the power consumption? Can I change my light bulbs? Can I close one room and not heat that because maybe I don't need the guest room to be heated every day because I don't have guests every day. Maybe I don't need to use the bathtub. Maybe it's better to use a shower. Like things like this will have an impact, and that is where the opportunities lies as well for the planet, because all of a sudden we are all thinking about how to have a lower impact on our electricity bill. But in relation with that, we start to look at our homes and improve the the footprint that we have from a consumptional point of view. Okay, jumping over to the next question. But Natalia, this is a super interesting question that we could go on and talk about much more in detail for sure, because there are so many factors, especially connected to e-commerce. But we need to break it down and talk a little bit more closer to each and every company's interest. So, Eva, you were asking, what are your favorite digital marketing tools? Uh, I'm very much about sorry. I'm very much about automation and to trace behavior, to understand what works and what does not work. To in between that, try to understand why something works. To understand a little bit more about like what was the expected behavior, but what is the actual behavior now? How can I see that from running 10 different experiments, like let's take a simple example. We have one fixed image, a still image for a Facebook ad. I post that and I hope for the best. I say that this ad should attract or should be displayed to 10,000 people per day without segmentation. Like anyone can see this. It's going to be super interesting for everyone. That's my thought, my belief. That is probably one of the worst situations that you can get into. But if we instead try to look at it a little bit closer and say, okay, so I believe that this fixed image is what will have the best impact, but let's create 8 different ones with different background colors, and instead of just one item have 10 of the same item, have a hand holding the item, and so on and so on. You get the point. Try different styles for the ad. And then I try to see, okay, so who is the persona, who how close can I get to the actual buyer of this product? And then I started to talk about more relevancy. And that is what it's all about when we talk about digital marketing tools, to find the tools that help you to get as close to relevancy for your buyers as possible. And I wouldn't say that there is one tool or a set of tools that are the best, because it's a little bit different depending on what you're doing, depending on what channel you're trying to reach out through, and so on and so on. So always ask yourself, like, okay, can I do split testing or A/B testing? Can I, with that, trace the result and see the actual behavior around whatever it is that I'm trying to push to my audience? And then can I do breakouts and see, okay, so out of these 8 different variants, I see that 2 is behaving really well. Let's break them out and do variants of those 2 with tiny modifications to see if I can get even better result. Because if you were to create a post, an ad, and push that on the market, asking them what they think, you will always get opinions, but not the actual behavior. That is why it's so important for you to use smart tools to test the behavior. Let's jump over to Carolina. How Gen Z is buying now? How to speak to them? Okay, this is also a super interesting question, but I would like to take it even one step further. You're talking about Gen Z. I'm starting to talk about Generation Alpha. And Generation Alpha is even more interesting. It's the kids that we see as children still. It's the kids that was born around 2010 and that we see as non-consuming children. But from their point of view and from a platform point of view, they have been buying goods for quite some time already. Because what we can see in their behavior, if we talk about behavior for a minute, is that the behavior about buying something is that you have a certain amount of, let's call it tokens, instead of calling it money. It could be points in a game that you can then use to buy something. And those points you collect or you earn through the gaming process. But you can also buy points with real money that is real to you and me, so that you can faster get to the point of buying whatever it is that you want to buy in the game. And this is where it gets super interesting, because all of a sudden, what we see is that the children, or especially Generation Alpha, have an interesting idea and concept around money. Because money is the same as the points in a way, it's tokens. Because they have been so interconnected. And when they start to shop online, I assure you that they will be interested in finding that the online behavior is nourished in the similar ways, like gamification. Why would you not embed gamification in the purchase process to make your customer want to come back. Like this is something that we have seen for a very, very long time. Like for example, at the gasoline stations where you get points every time you fill your car at that particular gasoline station and so on. You see it at the coffee shop where you get a stamp for every time you go and buy coffee, and then the 10th coffee is for free. That is gamification in real life, but we can do so much more with gamification. We can learn from the games, and we can learn from the generations that, like for example, Generation Z and Generation Alpha. There is so much more opportunities that we can create by actually connecting closer to our consumer. So, to summarize your question with one answer, the best way is to start that conversation and speak to them. See how they behave, or maybe just look over their shoulder. Like, invite a couple of Gen Z to the office and show them your product, show them your customer journey, show them your checkout, and then just look over their shoulder as they try it out. And you will learn so much. And that's a very, very easy method. You don't have to overcomplicate it. Keep it simple and just make it happen. It's so rewarding when you get into that room and can start the dialogue rather than just tracking data. To have that conversation and see, okay, what is it that happens here? Moving on to the next question. What do you think are the three essential skills for a career in marketing? Okay, that's also a really interesting question. Thank you for asking. I would say one of the most important things is that you want to break boundaries. You want to find opportunities where people are, in a way, lazy and just follow the crowd. That you want to connect closer to the buyer, the customer, the consumer. You want to understand more of how you can create value for them, how you can create value by adding the right information, the right quality, the right messaging at the right time. And that is a skill that maybe not so many marketers have. Maybe they sit a little bit too much on their own, thinking that the digital platforms will solve everything for them. But again, starting that conversation and learning from what people say, what people share with you is super interesting. And then, of course, you need to stay ahead of the game. You need to understand what tools are out there, what opportunities lies in artificial intelligence, how you can create or mass produce content using AI. How can you use an AI engine, for example, to create 1,000 different ads and then connect that with AI to trace which ads is most efficient? Add another AI engine that create the text content around the ad, and then add the functionality to split test the customer behavior throughout the customer journey. Create micro conversion goals. Don't just look at the end conversion goal, but actually each step, and try to be creative at all points. What do you need to create a customer journey map? That's also a super interesting question. A customer journey map is not so complicated. A customer journey map is something that you can create on a piece of paper. And maybe it's for you to think a little bit about, okay, so what is a customer journey that I would like the customer to experience? And then see what the actual customer journey looks like. You can do it in PowerPoint, and you can use smart tools to trace how the customer is moving around. You can use Google Analytics and so on and so on. But again, it's a little bit time to market. Use your time in the best way to find out the information that you want, and use agile methods to break it down pieces that you can manage in an easy way. So instead of using all these fancy tools, start to just use a whiteboard or use a piece of paper. Outline what it is that you want, that you think the customer journey looks like today. Then maybe add one more beautification level, so to say, and throw it into PowerPoint or something like that. You could also use flowchart tools, and if you just Google for flowchart online, then I'm sure that you'll find a bunch of difference. But for example, Mural is one that is quite commonly used. I have been using mind mapping as one way of outlining the different steps in a customer journey. The importance is that you understand what the customer is going through. And I would suggest that as a company, we should test our customer journey at least once per month because things are changing. The bigger you are, the more changes you'll see in your customer journey because there are so many different teams working on the actual steps in the customer journey. Maybe your payment solution provider is changing how the payment the actual checkout is working, and maybe you have outsourced that so that you transport the customer from your website to a secure environment where they can make the payment. And with that, you get into situations where maybe you don't have the full control, full understanding of how the full journey looks like. So start to understand it and then analyze it. Maybe you should set points on each step and say, okay, so this have this level of ease as I go through it. Maybe you should set timings like this step take this much time, and then see what you can do to make it easier and also to take less time, but also try to see where the bailouts are. Why do people drop out? Why do people close their web browser or go to another web page? Like one common mistake is to have a discount code field, because when you have the discount code field in the checkout, you tend to get customers interested in finding a discount code. And that leads them away from your website. So in a way, it is supposed to be a solution to get more customers to buy from you. But if you don't do it in the right way, which is a topic that we can talk about separately, because it's quite complicated with the discount code solution as a whole, the discount code can actually damage your conversion quite heavily. Okay, let's see. Can you tell what are three prediction marketing highlights for 2023? Yeah, so one and the most important one is returning customers. Like as we're going into some financial uncertainty, if we call it that, rather than a recession, that means that we need to make money where we are and not just get more customers in, but actually get people to buy from us on a returning basis. This is something I've been talking about for many years already, because we pay quite much money for people to get to our store, but we don't pay enough interest to them when they have bought from us once. What we want them to do is to actually get them into buying from us on a repeated basis. And that's where we start making the real money, so to say, because we have already made the investment in turning them into a paying customer. And then I would say that we will see lots of information about Meta and AR, augmented reality and virtual reality. But to keep it more closer to what the consumers are expecting, I don't see that consumers is going to transform into using AR and VR platforms during next year, but there will still be an interest. The major concern connected to AR and VR is that the devices, the headsets, is still a bit too bulky. They are still a bit too heavy to just put on and find it easy to use for hours and hours. Like you can sit with your phone in your hand without being bothered for quite some time. You can sit at your laptop for quite some time. But putting on the headset and, in a way, also the AR glasses, they are not as ergonomic and they are a little bit too heavy. So it will put a strain on your neck after a while. But we have seen a tremendous amount of development in that area as well. Like if we just go back a couple of years, the devices was far less advanced and they were more at a heavier weight and so on and so on. So I see that this is definitely something we're going into. Apple have invested quite much into AR as well, which they have not showed to the public yet, but there's lots of discussions about what they are working on. So that's going to be super interesting. Because of the pandemic, we did not see a launch as expected. So let's see what the next year will have to offer us. Next question. We see that it's becoming harder and harder to promote something on social media as part of digital marketing strategy. The event on Facebook needs a good paid campaign to be visible. The ranges on Instagrams are being cut. Why is that, and what does it mean for the future of social media marketing? Yeah. First of all, we need to think about that all these social media companies, they are also businesses that want to make a profit. So of course they try to find ways and in making it easy for you to reach out to many people because you will be paying per impression. Um, and then at the same time, it became so easy for us to market anything at very low cost. So consumers got tired of all the ads because at one point the ads became influencer inspirational content, and that distracted us from the current trust that we had, and we created a problematic situation in a way where the customers didn't feel as much trust as they had before. um, this result in that the market, the segment that you're targeting with your ads, might find that they can't really trust the messaging, which is one of the major concerns when we get closer and closer to having a product in the hands of someone that then try to market it towards someone. Like if we take the example with printed ads and you see some celebrity from a Hollywood movie wearing a watch that is from Rolex and at a very high price, you can just see it from the picture. That is something we're used to. It's for many people a beautiful photo. It's an impression that creates value for the brand, and so on and so on. It's more of building the brand and the brand value rather than trying to sell that particular watch. While in social media, we're not doing so much of brand strategy. We're more trying to push a particular product. This is what you want, come and buy it. So maybe one strategy that we're applying in social media is to not build up that relationship, to try to get them to click and buy straight away. Maybe that is where we see that we get many impressions, but we get a lower conversion because we're expecting that they will buy from us straight away without knowing enough about what we have to offer. They haven't been teased in a way about our product offer. They haven't been receiving these content inspiration in a repeated manner. They have been pushed to make a decision straight away. Okay, that's all for today as it looks. And do we have one last question, or are we happy with that as a Q&A? What we did today was to just go through a little bit connected to the high level keynote that I had the other day, which was more on an inspirational level. But if you want to talk more with me on these level and these topics and anything related to it, just reach out to the organizers or reach out to me on LinkedIn, and we'll set something up and dig deeper into what it is that you guys are doing and what you're trying to achieve. Uh, let's see, this last question is really good. How can we use gamification in marketing? Okay, that's a tricky one. But it's so much fun. I love advertisement. I love to see what different companies come up with as creative methods of creating engagement and interest for an ad. But gamification is all about creating a feeling, an emotion that you don't want to leave. You want to, in a way, be further more engaged. So, for just thinking out loud, one way would be to create ads that connect with each other, where each ad gives you a piece that would lead you to the next ad, where to find the next ad, like an Easter egg hunt. And for each step, you're rewarded somehow. But the first step, you're given the idea that this is an Easter egg hunt. And the last step in the ad campaign, you will get rewarded somehow. You need to brainstorm about how to present that reward so that it's rewarding enough. But if you make it fun enough, then people will be prepared to start this game and maybe not think so much about the product, but as you're creating this positive feeling, this emotion, as they go through your journey of following the ads and getting more and more engaged into the product, and you can connect the ads and each step into something related to the product or the company, they will have a long lasting relationship in their emotional state towards your product. Something totally different from what you normally see in any other advertisement campaign. So, isn't ads and marketing very much about connecting those emotions, connecting and nourishing those emotions, adding more and more to them? I believe so, and I would love to talk more about this because this is so interesting. And I could just think that if we got together and did a brainstorming session that was targeting a particular area, we could come up with so much interesting ideas that we then could execute on. So let me know if you want to talk more about that as well. Okay, so that's it for today. My name is Karl Lillrud. The easiest way to find me is to go to my website or to, as I said, speak to the organizers. And let's see if we had any other question that I missed out on. No, I don't think so. Okay. Thank you so much for today, and I look forward to hearing more from you guys. Take care.